Hey guys, I got a request to do a video about Sin, Sit, Si, Sine, okay? And I figured, I should throw in Hans, Hennes, Deres also, because it doesn't make any sense to just do one without the other. And I gotta say, these are easy to mix up. I could see why, people want to know about them, and I actually have mixed these up when I'm having conversations sometimes. And in complicated sentences, they can be a little bit confusing. But just to go over, this is a good place to start with Sin, Sit, Si, Sine. All right, they are dependent on the noun. Here, let's just show you. They reflect back on the noun that and that determines which one you're going to use. So, en bil, right? That's masculine or hunchen. And so basically, hun kjørte bilen sin, okay? And it's all about the noun. It's not about the subject, the lady or the guy or them. It's about the noun. The noun determines which one you're going to use. And I'll show you. Watch this. Han kjørte bilen sin. See? Doesn't change. De brukte bilen sin. And the only reason I use brukte instead of kjørte is because my wife said, what, they both drive at the same time? How do they do that? So, all right. So you would, and it's true, you would say brukte or took bilen sin. But the thing you also want to remember about all of these, all right, is they're talking about it's people doing something with their own stuff. Okay, that's what these are all about. It's not with anybody else's stuff, it's with their own stuff. Okay, so watch. Okay, here's Sitt. Hun maler huset sitt. She's painting her house, her own house. And see how it changes to sit because of the noun. And et hus is neuter noun. And han maler huset sitt. It doesn't change, right? It doesn't change anything about this. The only thing that changes is it's Han that's doing it. So keep that in mind. De maler huset sitt. They're painting their house. And I guess, I should point out that it changes automatically. So if you go back, see, now it's his, right? Sit means his, and then here it means their. It just reflects completely backwards on what's going on. And it's a little bit like, in Hawaii they say aloha, right, to say hello, and they say aloha to say goodbye, and it's all in context. It's just like that. And it's actually, once you that is easy to get used to. For some reason it's easy, because it can't be anything else. Okay, see is really just the article a. Whenever you're using that, if you decide to use a instead of n, sometimes you can switch those. So now it's mora si, and that's where si suddenly appears because the noun dictates it. The noun is what decides what it's going to be. And if you'll notice, han motus mora si as well. It doesn't change even though it's han, and even though it's D, right? It's still mora si. Well, they're brother and sister. Let's just say, okay. They had to ask their mother. They have one mother. So, and it's their own mother. It's not somebody else's. There's no question about it. All right, so you're starting to get this, right? You're starting to understand what sin, sit, si, and now sine are all about. Sine is really just plural. It's flertal, right? So I decided to use dogs. Okay. Hun matet hundene sine, right? Okay. She fed her own dogs, right? Because it's sine. It's nobody else's. You can't. You just know that's what it's all about. And same thing. Han matet hundene sine. Now it's his dog. See, it changes automatically because it's him you're talking about. And once you get this, it's cool, you know, and you can you practice and you start to use it right. Maybe you use it right for the first time, and wow, it's really good. You know, it's a good thing. But don't worry about making mistakes, because it's easy to do that. Die mattet hundene sine. Same thing. See, it doesn't change. Han mattet hundene sine. Die mattet hundene sine. And they're talking about their own dogs. It's their dogs now. Their own dogs with Sine. All right, and this is just how this works. It's a different system than English, and it's kind of cool. You know, I mean, it's confusing at first. Well, what is confusing is whenever you go to a website or read in a book, a lot of times they lump these in with all the personal pronouns that there are. I mean, there's way more than these. There's mit and dit and all of them together, but it's good to, I think, to just look at one set of them at a time and really understand how they work. Okay, so hopefully you got this and you understand what Sin, Sit, See, Sine is all about. There are two things to really remember is that they reflect back. They're reflexive, and they can't exist without something before, and or something to reflect off of. Let's just put it that way. And when they do, it's the noun that changes and decides which one it is. And then, of course, it's just based on, in context, it means, you know, their, his, or hers in context. All right, so now that you kind of get that, hopefully you got that, we can move on to Hans, Hennes, and deres. And so here's that same sentence, hun mattet hundene Hans. Okay, now you can see she fed another guy's dogs. You know, it's another guy. And you would know this anyway, but what if it was han mattet hundene Hennes, right? Then you would know it's another lady's dogs that she was feeding. And Hans, Hennes, deres, they're used when the owned object is not owned by the subject, right? Typically, the subject is going to be the first thing in the the sentence in Norwegian. So do Hennes here, right? Han kjørte bilen Hennes. And you probably already knew this, right? I mean, this one really makes sense, right? He drove her car. But it's just a system. It's fitting in with a larger system. You know, even though you may be familiar or this makes sense to you, it's part of a larger system, and I'm kind of just explaining how that system works here. And then deres, and I picked this one just because it was confusing. Die maler huset deres, and in this case, if you were like you saw some people painting their own house and you said this, it would probably be okay. But if you said die maler huset sitt, then you would know for sure that it was, you know, their own house that they were painting. And if you say die maler huset deres, then you're saying really that it's other people's. It's some other people's house that they are painting. So, you know, you can mix these up. I only did 3 of these, right? Die maler huset Hans, die maler huset Hennes. And, you know, that's a good exercise, actually, to just run through your mind. And you can do that yourself to practice. All right, now I want to show you, now that I have those 2 things explained, and hopefully understand those, now we'll just do Hans, Hennes, deres, when it's just one person or one set of people and their stuff. Okay, let's get rid of the other people and put some stuff in. And Hans, right? Huset are Hans. That makes sense. Simple. Book Hans are. His book is Der Arbilen Hans. Right? This is stuff that you learn right away. This may be very familiar to you, but like I said, it fits into something larger. So, and this is kind of what you learn in the beginning, I guess. Excuse me. Or you could say Der Hans Biel, and you can say other things. There are a lot of different ways you can use Hans, Hennes, deres in sentence structure. I'm kind of mixing them up. That's all I'm doing. So, you know, it's not, you don't have to use it this way. You don't have to use them this way. But I'm just showing you, you can be very flexible with these. And they don't change. They don't change with the gender of the noun, right? Huset hennes are, her house is, hennes første book. I got that from Klartala. You know, I get a lot of these from just going around on the internet and getting examples of sentences that Norwegians are writing, so that it's the real deal. Bilen hennes blir taget fra, from wherever. So you get the idea of this. It's very simple if it's just one person, right, and there's nobody else involved, and you're using Hans, Hennes, deres. You use them like this, you know. These are examples of how you can use them. And this is sort of back to basics. This is like the first stuff that they teach. Deres, ret ved siden of huset deres, right next to their house. You know, there's nobody else involved, so it's their house you're talking about. You know, it's pretty clear. Boken deres, and this was something about, you know, a guy that bought a book that was co-authored by two people, right? They had a book, so or it could just be a couple people that owned a book and the guy bought it, or I bought it. Bilen deres blir stjålet, right? That's how it works. And these, you want to practice these too. Hennes, I mix up with hun sometimes, personally. I'm not embarrassed to say that, you know. So if there may be something that confuses you, or you mix them up, you just practice, and this is how it's used. So you go back to Hennes, right? Huset hennes, Hennes første book, Bilen hennes, right? You just practice them, and then it's natural. You don't have to think about it before you say it, and which is great. Okay, now I hope that helps. That part helped you. Now I just want to show you some sentences and show you how you can have different sentences with these, right? Han vasker bilen sin, and then der bilen hans. It's his car, because it's just the way the sentence is formed. There's no confusion about it when you use it this way. Okay, so let's see. What's the best way to say this? It's the way you construct the sentence, and it's context. Context plays a big role in this. From a pure grammatical viewpoint, you can watch people talk about this all day long. You know, all the different things about it. From a practical standpoint, it's really context. Der Arbilen sin han vasker, right? I really like this one, because it's like if you are just starting to learn Norwegian and you see a sentence like this, you're like, what the hell? What the heck is this? You know, sin han. You know, but you can see that it's just the way the sentence is constructed. Now, hopefully, that you understand a little bit more about sin, Hans, and Hennes. You know, you can see that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's his car he's washing. Here's one that really confused me when I first saw it. I was like, how the heck can Han lot Sonnensen vaske bilen Hans? how can Hans be the father's car? And it can't be anybody else's car. Unless the guy doesn't want his son to wash his own car. But when I ask Norwegians about this, you would never use sin here, but you could reconstruct the sentence many different ways. You don't have to say it like this. I'm not going to go into that, but this is there. You can be very flexible about how you form a sentence and phrase it another way. So basically, that's what this is. Different ways of phrasing sentences. And I wanted to show you this because I didn't want to just show you like grammatic examples that were easy and then just say, okay, good luck. I'm going to show you examples of what can happen, and then tell you that there are many variations, and these can be confusing. So don't worry about it. If you are confused about it, it's probably just a construction, the way the sentence is constructed, that you're not familiar with. And there are many. That's why I say this is a basic. This video could be like 5 hours long if I wanted to try to find them all. But I will have links, and you can. One of them's kind of cool. There's some people sort of discussing different exceptions and how you can the rules that happen. But for those of us that just want to understand the basics and start using them, hopefully this is a good start, and this will help out. So I'll just say look for the links in the comments. That's where I'm going to leave them. And thanks for watching, and subscribe if you found this helpful. Till next time, ha det bra.